Alright, rockers, joining me now by phone, a man many of us have gotten to know over the years through various bands because he is amazing at what he does on guitar. Most recently, he was a member of Whitesnake, and now he is kicking ass in a brand new band called Revolution Saints. Right now on the phone with me, Doug Aldrich.
Hey guys, hey Turbo, what's happening, bro?
Not much, man, not much. Kicking back here on the East Coast, wishing I had the weather you've got out in LA, man.
Yeah, you guys had a rough winter this year. You know, it's just one of those years, I guess. It's been brutal for you guys. It started off early and it's still going, I guess. You know, and it's been a lot of snow.
Yeah, man.
But it's almost over. It's almost over. It's springtime almost. A couple days.
Almost, man. I got my fingers crossed, and hopefully it'll turn around soon. And the good news is the summer concert season is upon us, so it's something for everyone to look forward to. Now, let's get into things with you, because I know your schedule is busy and there's a lot going on because of this amazing new band you're a part of, Revolution Saints. The self-titled album is available now wherever you buy your music. How did you end up getting involved with this project?
It came from the head of Frontiers Records. His name's Serafino. He's basically has signed many of the big artists that are still working today, especially in melodic rock and heavy rock. Not as much metal, but anyway, Frontiers Records decided that Deen Castronovo should do a solo record, and Deen and Jack have been friends, and so they asked Deen, "Who do you want to have on the record?" And Deen said, "Well, get my buddy Jack on bass, and Jack Blades from Night Ranger, and Jack is he's like a cornerstone of whatever he's doing. He's the leader of Night Ranger with Brad and Kelly, but he's also, he brings to Deen stability and great bass playing and great singing. And then somebody said, let's ask Doug if he wants to do this record. And I was still at that time working with Whitesnake, and we were just on hiatus, but we had planned it for January or February of last year, and I said, yeah, I would love to work with Deen and Jack. I had just met Jack on tour. We did a show together in Arizona, I think, and Whitesnake and Journey had done a bunch of shows in 2013, and me and Deen just got to be really good friends, and I love his drumming. I mean, he's just so badass, and he's on point, and he throws down every night. He fucking brings it. And I'd go out front and watch a couple songs before we'd have to take off, or whatever. And between him and Neil Sean, it was awesome. And then we got to be really tight. And then I said I would love to work with him. So then we just planned out. They started going through songs, and we picked the songs that we were going to work on, and somewhere along the line, I ended up leaving Whitesnake, and we actually started recording the Revolution Saints. I had kind of put Revolution Saints a little bit on the back burner because I had started a project with David, but then all of a sudden I was free, and I had free time and was able to concentrate on Revolution Saints, and it turned out really good.
So when you guys first got together to start working on Revolution Saints, because you guys know, you guys all come from that same era, kind of, when rock and metal was at its top in the media, when everywhere you turned, it was rock and metal, whether it was the heavy stuff with Metallica and Megadeth, or the dare I say, popular side of, Journey and Bon Jovi, but all still good tunes all the way around. Was that a key factor in the sound that you guys ended up doing on this album? Because I listened to this album, and I'm instantly, and I don't know if this will make you feel old or me feel old, but I'm instantly pulled back to the mid to late 80s, early 90s when rock and metal was everywhere.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cool things about that record. It's really, for me, it was a challenge because I've never played on, I've always been kind of a little more on the heavy side and more bluesy side. I'm blues-based, blues-influenced, and these were really melodic, catchy songs. And I thought, how am I I got to find a way to put my stamp on them. And it was a challenge, that I wanted to do. And so it brings you back to that time, but it's in a good way because there's not really any filler for me. All the songs are really, really good, well-written songs, and then we arranged them and made them hopefully better. And the sound of the record is contemporary. So in the 80s, this record may have been drenched in reverb, on the snare and the guitars and stuff. But this record is a really in-your-face production, kind of what's happening now. I mean, it's not unlike something that maybe, like some of the heavier stuff like Mend a Broken Heart or something like that. It's not unlike something the Foo Fighters would do, and sonically as well. So it's kind of a nice blend. It's got an up-to-date sound, but it's throw back to some really good riffs and stuff that you don't really hear written in that way today so much.
It's true what you say there. I mean, there's so much about what's put out now. It's about how it sounds technically and the way things sound when they're blended together a certain way. And with this album you guys have done with Revolution Saints, it's kind of got that arena feel. Yeah, it almost sounds, when you're listening to the album, you almost get that vibe of it could have even been a live recording because it has that arena style vibe to it.
It's really, I'll tell you one thing that makes that happen is, we didn't record it live together because of schedules. It was just the way it was. We worked all through, sending each other song updates, and like I'd get a guitar on there, and then Deen would do a vocal or whatever it was, and then we were doing keyboards. So, but one of the things that keeps it fresh is that normally with a situation like this, you write songs from scratch and you do demos for them, and already you're really emotionally invested into the song really deeply, and then you re-record a song with the band and you mix it and you master it, and it's just like you hear the song thousands of times. With this record, I got the track sent to me that had, obviously we knew what the arrangements were going to be, and we had worked on demos and stuff, but I hadn't really gotten deep into the guitars yet. I just knew I was going to wait until I got the real tracks. And once I did, I just had a really fun time working on it, and a lot of first takes is what I ended up using. So it makes it feel fresh. When you go over and over and over something, you can lose perspectives about it, and it can kind of start to become flat and linear. And the one thing I can say about this is it really came together quickly and easily without a lot of trouble. So I wasn't spending hours, trying to, I wasn't spending hours trying to record the guitars. It kind of came really naturally. And then even when it came to solos, I would just kind of fire off 3 or 4 solos, and I'd start to maybe some kind of melody would emerge, and I'd start to latch in on that. And then I'd go for it using maybe an outline that had come naturally and spontaneously, and then I'd use that as an outline, and that's how the whole thing on my end was recorded. I think probably the same went with the other guys, because it does sound fresh and it does sound live.
So that's something that's kind of, it's refreshing to hear, not only in the album, but from you speaking about how you guys worked on it. But of course, like you said, due to scheduling, you were doing it over emails and back and forth. that way, and there are bands that do that now, and I find it seems for some of the bands now, it extends the process, because while you're waiting for that reply from an email, you get the idea, you go back, you tweak it, then you get what they sent to you. What they sent doesn't match what you tweaked, so you're tweaking again, resending it, hoping they didn't tweak it again. And you guys did just the opposite, where it was, okay, you laid it down, it felt right to you, you sent it on, and you guys just ran with it. So while you weren't together to do it live in one shot, you wouldn't know that listening to the album.
Well, it also comes down to the songs are really good. They're really fun to play, and everybody. I mean, Jack played really beautiful, heavy, kick-ass bass on the record. All of it. He made it so the guitars. I really didn't have to do too much. You know, it was like he's outlining stuff. He's really like, you know, he plays like how Paul McCartney plays, or like nothing. I mean, nothing bad against modern players, because there's a beautiful thing that's going on with metal right now. There's some killer stuff. I mean, even well, I mean, like, I don't know if it's not death metal, but it's kind of like, you know, super heavy metal that is got some killer bass stuff and killer guitar stuff, but it's different from the old days, you know, whereas Paul McCartney or John Paul Jones would outline these chords, and then it kind of went, it worked with the guitar part, but it wasn't the exact same thing as the guitar part. And that's how Jack plays, and so it made it really easy for me.
Right, I mean, because in the, you know, those days, and even in the early 80s, it was more about how the bass player and the guitar player would complement each other and work together, where it seems like nowadays, again, like you said, not to take anything away from the way music is going, because music, like anything, evolves and improves over time, but it's almost in some bands' cases nowadays where the bass players are competing with the guitar players to see who's going to be the one that stands out more than the other in the band, as opposed to maybe one leading the other and then swapping off like it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends. I appreciate, you know, if whatever stuff that I like is varied. So I mean, sometimes I like it when the guitar and bass are and the drums are playing like some syncopated riff really tight together, and it kind of blows me away sometimes how drummers will play inside of that and do all this crazy kick drum stuff, and I dig it. It's aggressive, and like, you know, listening to it in the car, it makes you want to go faster. And there's some stuff like that on this record too, but there's also some really delicate stuff that is it was really cool. I could bring out more of a Gary Moore influence, because I love the way Gary Moore would take melodies, and Neil Schon is another influence of mine, and Neil's on the record too, which is interesting because he plays on a song. He's kind of like, he played on the cornerstone track of the record, a song called "Way to the Sun," and I think every record needs that cornerstone track. It's not like a radio single. It's not like maybe everyone's first go-to track, but it's kind of like the one that in the end you go, thank God that song's there, because it really just sets the whole record in a new direction. And so originally they said, Neil's going to play on the record, and I said, cool. And he was going to play on that song, and so I left the solo off that song and had just done some rhythm guitars. And then they said, Neil's busy and not sure if it's going to work out, so I stuck a solo on there, and it was so fun to play on, and it was Gary Moore influenced, and I thought, well, this would have been really cool for Neil, but I'll take over. And I did a solo that was probably my favorite one on the record. And then they said, okay, Neil's going to play on it. I was like, no. But I was really happy, obviously, because I love Neil. He's a friend of mine. He's a great guy, and one of the greatest, you know, melodic guitar players out there. And so I was happy that he was going to play on it, but I was bummed out that my solo wasn't going to be on But then they decided we'll use your solo for some extras or whatever, or like iTunes or something. So there's on the deluxe edition you can hear my take on that solo. But so my point being that the record's got a lot of different stuff. It's got some heavy stuff, in your face stuff, and then it's got some really ethereal, kind of almost Pink Floyd-y melodic stuff. That but really the whole key to this thing is it's about Deen. Deen Castronovo is a multi-talented, super amazing, talented person, and one of the coolest moves that Serafino did was give Deen a shot to be the lead singer, because his voice is just insane.
And that's something that we really have been seeing a lot, even in recent years, to see a drummer come out and be the singer. You know, we've all kind of gotten accustomed to the drummers are there, they're doing their thing, they're keeping the rhythm, keeping the flow, pounding away, maybe getting on a background vocal. And here, and here he is. I mean, it's like, wow, up in your face.
Yeah, he's an up in your face person. I mean, that's what. Well, I'll tell you. First of all, Deen did sing some stuff live with Journey. He took lead vocals on a couple tracks because he could, and they were ballads, and he could play and sing it. But he's like a dynamo guy. I mean, the three of us together when we were doing videos, and we did. The guys were doing some backgrounds, and then we did a bunch of photos. We were like three. It's a good match because we're three different personalities. I'm just kind of happy when I got a guitar on. I really want my guitar with me all the time, and I'm kind of just go with the flow guy mostly. But I get stirred up by being around somebody like Deen. He gets me wound up, and it's like I could be a partner in crime, and he's like a dynamo. He's like a Tasmanian devil running around with his head cut off. And so I was doing that too, but Jack is more of he's the governor, he's the captain of the ship. He came in and he's like, guys, let's focus, let's get this done, come on, all right, and it was really cool, the three of us. But Deen's just that way. He's like, I mean, any personality that you've ever met, like a guy like Steven Tyler or Tommy Lee or very flamboyant. That's Deen. That's who he is. He's a huge star, man, and I'm really happy for him that he's getting noticed as a front man. And I don't know what's going to happen I don't know what's going to happen when and if and when. We've had some offers to do some dates, but we're not sure yet what we're doing. But if we do, if it ever comes to fruition, and I think it will, and I think it would be great, even like in a charity or something to do a Revolution Saints gig, just to start it off. I would love to do something like that, and it would be great to have Deen come from behind the drums and get out front where he belongs on some of this stuff.
Now, when you got before I was going to ask you about what the plans were for touring, and you answered it for me right there. And being that we want to tour, but we've all agreed that we really want to. We want to go out and kick ass and do it. We could put together a killer show. I mean, with the songs off the record, and then some stuff that I wrote with David that we never did live just because of time constraints. But stuff off of like Good to Be Bad record or Forevermore. But do it in the Revolution Saints way. Do it in a way that's comfortable for the three of us, not trying to recreate Whitesnake songs or do a Night Ranger song, but do it our way. Imagine, I don't know, imagine Cream playing Don't Tell Me You Love Me. What would that be like? So, and then any number of other things, Damn Yankees or whatever, we could throw in a song. So we could put together a killer show. We all talked about it. We would love to do it. We just have to see if the schedules work out. And if they do, then we will. Well, that's also, I think, the key thing a lot of people forget with essentially Revolution Saints is a super group, and people seem to forget that, you guys have more than one thing going on, so getting out and touring isn't as easy as you guys would like it to be.
Well, I don't, I don't know if I don't know if we're a super group. We're a super group of goofballs, that's for sure. But it would be really. I mean, we all had fun, and we would love to do it. So we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. I mean, we're not going anywhere. So I mean, if it's not, I mean, I know that Journey's got plans right now. They're preparing for a big tour. And Night Ranger, I know, has a bunch of dates. I'm doing this show in Las Vegas called Rain in the Rock Vault at the Tropicana. That's really fun, and it allows me to be not traveling, which is kind of what I want to do right now. I don't want to go on the road really for 2 months at a time. So everything's kind of working for everybody, and once the touring season gets wrapped up, I think that would be a good time to put something together. If the interest is there, we've had a couple of really interesting offers from Japan and Europe and stuff. And if that's for real and the interest is there, I don't see any reason why we couldn't do it.
Well, I can definitely see the interest being there over in Europe and Asia, and I guarantee it will follow suit here in the States with Revolution Saints. Doug, I know you got a lot going on, so I don't want to hang you onto you too much longer. There was one last thing I want to ask you about the album regarding the way it was put together. You guys really, as you already said, went all over the place with the album. Did you guys, to me, it comes on strong right out of the gate. It mellows out a little bit. It hits you again, and then mellows out again. And credit also to you guys for doing the power ballads in there as well. What was that planning in the track order, the intentional way that you guys wanted it, or did it just happen to work out that way?
Well, I think that it was just a group of songs that we all agreed were good and would be good and would all were really suited for Deen to sing, and the shape of the songs, the main part of the way that the songs came together was from the songwriting years. The producer Alessandro Del Vecchio, he wrote most of it himself, and then he co-wrote a couple with Jack. And Jack and I had talked about writing. We were like, we need to write some stuff for the record too. But and we actually, I was driving in my car and I sang him a couple of riffs, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we could do this." And then he put something down and sent it back to me, and we kind of got hung up. And he was moving, and before we knew it, we needed to get the record done. We didn't weren't able to get anything together. But the songs there was already a great group of songs there previously, so it wasn't like we had to do it. And the songs took shape once we recorded them. Some of the stuff some of the ballads, you would call them, people might call them power ballad, but I call them, it's more ethereal. There's some really ethereal stuff. In the Name of the Father is one. It's kind of like a really trippy ballad. It's like something like maybe Coldplay would do. You know what I mean? It reminded me. It's something different. I mean, we're playing it heavier than them, but it just turned out that way. The song was written, and it could have been, that we said let's chunk on eighth notes through the verse, but instead we left it open, and then Deen was doing a drum thing. It just turned out that way, to where each song kind of took on its own personality.
Well, I definitely did that in the album. From beginning to end, it's just a strong album, and I think the name of the band says it all. Revolution Saints, featuring Doug Aldrich and Deen Castronovo and Jack Blades. Go get that album out there. Now, Doug, thank you so much for taking the time to join me here inside the Asylum. Before I let you go, man, what particular song should we play from the album? Is there one in particular that maybe you want to get out there that no one's really gotten a chance to maybe highlight yet, or what are you feeling?
I think Locked Out of Paradise would probably be one that I think would be cool. I would say Locked Out of Paradise or Men's Broken Heart would be one of those two. Would be cool.
Like that.
I'm not sure what your listeners are kind of digging these days, but I don't know. I would say that. I would say those.
Cool, man. Well, I don't like that. Paradise sounds great, man. Any background on that song, or just just go ahead and rock it out?
I never listen to lyrics. I don't listen to it. I don't even know what the song's about. I just like the music. But that's how it's always been. I couldn't tell you the lyrics of Hotel California. I couldn't tell you the lyrics of Stairway to Heaven. But I love the way it's sung, and I love to hear it, and I love the music. That's just how I've always been. But so for me, Locked Out of Paradise is maybe locked out of a situation that you really want to be in.
Hey man, I tell you what, I'm the same way with music. I can find the track on an album I love when I hear it, but if you ask me to name it without looking it up, man, you might as well pull the trigger if you have a gun in my head. I know where you're coming from, man.
No, sometimes the titles I remember is an instrumental songs. I mean, the Jeff Beck songs that he has no lyrics, but you can remember the title because they're such cool titles. Like he would have a title called Rice Pudding, or it's like, or Savoy, or like what do these titles mean? And you listen to the music and it kind of like, oh, I see what he was going for. You know what I mean? It kind of, and he has a song called You Know What I Mean, or something, and you listen to the music and it kind of makes you feel like, oh, that's where you got the title from.
Yeah, it's one of those songs where at first you're not really sure, and then when you listen to it, you go, yeah, this makes sense. It feels right.
Yeah, he has a song called Big Block on it was a Guitar Shop, and that's a record I loved so much from the late '80s, and those you don't need lyrics. I don't know how we got talking about this because we're talking about Revolution Saints, but I love Jeff Beck, and he imagine Jeff Beck. If Jeff Beck would have played on Revolution Saints, that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that would have been, forget supergroup, that might have been the world's first mega group.
Then they don't need me.
No, they wouldn't need
cool,
you.
Sir, well, thank you, brother. Thank you for the support, man, and best to all your listeners, and really appreciate the support they've given me with the things I've done, and it's been great talking to you. It's a really, really cool interview. Thank you,
Same here, man. Everyone stay tuned right now. Locked Out of Paradise from Revolution Saints here inside the Asylum.